beautiful mum here with me. She came all the way from Australia to visit me and also so we could film. And I've got no makeup on, as you can see. So what we've done in this video is I've done a video that I devised. I did it with my friend Fiona, and she did one side of her makeup and then I showed what I would do differently on the other side of her face. So that's what me and my mum have done today. So my mum did this side of her face and I did this side of her face. So without further ado, I think we'll get straight into it. Oh, and also I did mention quite a lot of products in this tutorial that are really important, so I'm going to link them all in the description box down below for you guys so you can find them nice and easily. And if you do enjoy this video and you want me to fly my mum back over to Ireland to film more videos for you, give this video a thumbs up and say thanks Nola in the comment section down below. My mum's name is Nola, by the way.
And this is for all the more mature women, and I think there's been a few that have commented. I think there was a Mary or an Anne.
An Anne. I'm going to put your comment on the screen here because I did screenshot it.
And I thought, yeah, I totally related to what you said in your comment.
I was saying to my mum earlier that so many women kind of over the age of 50 forget how beautiful they are, or they just think that they've lost their beauty, but you really haven't. It's still so beautiful. It's just a matter of like figuring out how to work with like your features, because obviously your features change as you grow up. That's why I want to make more videos for you guys to remind you how beautiful you actually are. So we're going to get into the video now. I hope you enjoy it.
Well, hi everyone. What I'm going to be doing today is just doing half my face. I'm going to do this side, how I would do it normally for my everyday. I don't tend to wear a lot of makeup, but this is what I would be doing. I have put on my moisturiser. I then put on my foundation. I am using this one, and if I had my glasses on, I'd tell you what it is. This is what I do.
Oh, you're so good at this, mummy.
Okay, I know I'm meant to use a thingy, but I don't.
What's a thingy?
Oh, you know, one of those damp things.
One of the damp things.
And normally I put it on just after I put the foundation on just after I put on the moisturiser, about 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, because I find then it goes on really smoothly. So that's about all I do for that. Yeah, I don't do a lot. And then, depending what sort of mood I'm in, where I start.
So if you're in a bad mood, where do you start?
If I'm in a bad mood, I start in the same spot as if I'm in a good mood. So it makes absolutely no difference. But I have this, and it's an Estee Lauder. You know, it used to be a lot bigger, but it's only this length now. Double wear.
Stay in place eye pencil.
Yes, that's
and
what it is.
You use navy blue.
This is navy blue. I can't tell you what colour it is. I've had it quite a few years actually. And I do sharpen it, and it was a lot longer, but I use
Would you like a sharpener?
No, thank you.
Okay.
And I just do just stop staring at me.
I'm sorry.
And I put it here. Okay. I have in here it is. I have no eyebrows.
Me neither.
So I bought myself, it's an Australis eyebrow pencil, and I bought Australis because they're cruelty free.
Yes, we should actually mention here the Estee Lauder. Hi guys! Estee Lauder and Makeup Forever are not cruelty free. The Makeup Forever I donated to my mum because I got it sent a while back. So she does only purchase cruelty-free makeup products now, but you're kind of using through the non-cruelty-free ones that she's had for a while.
I've had that Estee Lauder thing for quite a few years.
But you only buy cruelty-free from now?
I definitely do, because that's why I've got this one. So a lot of my makeup, because I don't wear a lot of it, is quite a few years old. And I also try to buy ones that don't use palm oil in the product either, because that's all part of the cruelty-free. Okay, eyebrow pencil to make an eyebrow. And stop staring at me.
I have to see what you're doing so I can help you. I'm not judging, I'm just watching. So you do little hair-like strokes?
I do.
And are you following your like natural...
I try to, yeah, I try to as much as possible because I figure that's in the right spot.
Correct.
But I don't have much of a natural brow left at all, so I believe.
And that's from plucking them, isn't it?
No.
I tell them all the time, my eyebrows, my mum told me not to pluck them and I ignored her.
Do not. Do not.
Do not.
Do not. Anyway, that's Australis. It's got the little brush on the end. I don't use that.
Because you have no eyebrow hairs.
Because I have no eyebrows. The brush.
I brush my skin.
Through the day, I usually don't wear eyeshadow, but if I do, this is an old one that I've had. Dior. You know, it's Dior, so you can't chuck it out. And it's got these colours in it. And I actually, as you can see, I only use the brownie colour or the grey. I wouldn't even know how to use those other colours. And I have a brush that I've had for 1,000 years as well, and it looks like that shape. So I'm using just a bit of the brown. As you can see, it's the same brush I use for everything, so it's got grey on it already. I don't ever wash them. Ah, dear. Anyway, I'm using brown. It's coming out grey because I don't wash my brushes.
When was the last time you washed that brush out of interest?
It's never been washed. I don't wash it.
I think that brush is a couple of years old, Mummy.
No, it's not a couple of years old. It's at least 5 years
You have
old.
to wash that!
Look, I might even just go in with a little bit of the darker because I think it needs it.
And so you put all of that on your mobile lid?
On my mobile lid?
Yeah, that's the part that moves, like when you blink, like that
Yes, I do.
bulbous part.
Yes. So, that's that. The mascara I am using is, oh dear, Max Factor. Why did I buy that? It's called Glamour Extensions. It's 3-in-1 volumizing mascara, and I don't think Max Factor are cruelty free, so I won't be buying them anymore. And then I just apply it to the top lids. As you can see, it's making absolutely zero difference. There's my top eyelashes. I'll do the bottom. That's the eye done. Then I have this brush. It also has never been washed.
Oh, Mummy!
And I have a Sephora, this great big thing that Stephanie bought me years back. And I love it. It's got a mirror.
It never runs out because it's so big.
It's huge, isn't it? Huge. And I use it every day. So I just, you know, sometimes I like to add a bit of colour up here, like that, just so it's not all white. And then I would put on a lipstick. So this lipstick is
Urban Decay.
and Urban Decay are cruelty free. But I think this colour would be nice on a summer's day when you're having a glass of champagne. That's it. That's me done.
Hi guys! I actually think what you did for your side, a lot of it was good. A lot of it I would probably recommend you do differently. The foundation you used, this is like a water-based foundation, so it's really lightweight and it's not heavy, but it does still have nice coverage. So I'm going to use something similar to that. I'm going to try the ColourPop No Filter foundation. This one is not water-based, it's more silicone-based, which is not ideal, but it is cruelty-free. And it will go on really smoothly. I'm only putting it on really sparingly, and instead of using fingers, I'd suggest you just get a little blending brush like this, and then you can apply a really small amount and just work it out from there. Then what I'd do is I'd go in with a damp beauty blender and just pat to smooth and remove any excess. So this application method is a lot easier and more gentle on the skin, because when you use your fingers, you're kind of rubbing at your skin, and that can cause micro exfoliation, which if you had dry skin, it would pick up any dry, patchy, flaky areas of skin and make them look much worse. So you want to be as gentle on your skin as you can possibly be, and this patting method with the sponge is really, really gentle on the skin. So I'm actually only applying a really small amount of foundation, and then I'm just smoothing it out with the blender. And that way you make sure that you get even coverage and you don't exacerbate any dry areas on the skin. Now I'm going to apply this everywhere on your face, including your eyelids, because you don't want to have kind of white eye socket and then the rest of your face tanned. So I'm just going to go in with this everywhere, and again applying it with the brush, and then I'm going to smooth it out with the blender. And because you don't really have many eyebrow hairs, I'm just going to go straight over the eyebrow as well, because we'll fill that in later. Now what I will show you guys, not because my mum has them particularly, but if any of you guys watching this have dark under eye circles, simply going in with a highlighter won't work. It's just going to highlight the dark circle because you're not color correcting it first. So what you want to do is color correct the dark circle first. So you want to use something like this. This is from IT Cosmetics. It's the Bye Bye Under Eye Corrector, and I'm using it in the color Rich. As you can see, it's very, very dark, kind of terracotta orangey shade, and that's going to counteract any blue tones underneath the skin and bring it back to a neutral shade. And when you're working underneath the eyes, you want to apply as small amount as possible. You don't want to overload the under eye area with product because it's just going to end up looking thick and creased and cakey. So that's the under eye circle if she had any color corrected. Then what you want to do is go in with a brightener, highlight and brighten underneath that eye area, which can really help to lift the face. And you want to make sure that you highlight and also color correct the inner corner of the eye as well, because there is usually quite a dark blue vein that runs around the inner corner of the eye. And if you color correct and then brighten that, it'll make the eyes look so much bigger, brighter, and more awake and more youthful. Then what I do is I go in with a highlight. So we want to use all our cream products first before we set the face in place with powder. And yes, you do need to set your face in place with powder, and I'll show you why. You'll see the difference in a moment. So this highlight that I'm about to use is brilliant for using as an illuminator. It's not chunky, it's not glittery, so it's not going to exacerbate any fine lines. So sometimes when you use a highlighter, you notice fine lines that you didn't even know were there. So you don't want to do that. Oh, this one I should probably tell you what it is. It's Perricone MD No Highlighter Highlighter. And I'm just going to apply this on the high points of her cheekbones and up towards the temple. And then going back in with the trusty damp beauty blender and gently pat to blend it out. It also looks beautiful on the actual brow bone itself. Shut your eyes. Yeah, so it just kind of catches the light and creates that beautiful subtle highlighted effect. So we're almost applying it in a triangle kind of shape, so turn that way. You can hopefully see that it's almost like a skew-if triangle, and that's where you want to apply the bulk of the highlight. And then with the damp beauty blender, just go in and gently pat and blend down. Then I'm going to go in with this product here. This is the Bare Minerals Bare Skin Sheer Sun Serum Bronzer. This stuff is absolutely beautiful for creating like a sun-kissed golden glow, but without looking powdery. It's also
Cruelty-free?
Yeah, cruelty-free. It's also, everything I'm using on you is cruelty-free. It's also really buildable and quite sheer, so you don't have to worry about applying too much. So I'm just going to apply this where the sun would hit your face naturally. And similar to the highlight, I'm just going to apply it with a brush and then pat to blend it out. And yes, I am going over the top pretty much of where I applied the highlight, and that's because that's the highest point of the face. So not only would the sun hit there and bronze you, but the sun will also catch there and give you that beautiful highlighted effect. Is this making sense?
Not at all.
Oh, where are you lost?
Putting one on top of the other.
So why does that be confusing for you?
Well, you could gone in with the white highlighter, or whatever it was.
It's not white, but I went in with the highlighter, yeah.
And now you're going in with a darker.
So the highlighter, it's not got any colour. So it's not white, it's sheer. So it's pretty much invisible, except it's just going to catch any sunlight and brighten this area.
Okay.
Right? And then the bronzer on top of that, it's not dark, it's just a bronzy shade, so it gives you like a really healthy sun-kissed glow to your complexion. So you can layer products up on the same area, and the cheekbones is a really good area for layering products because it's the highest point of the side of your face. So that's the area you want to draw most attention to because you want to give your skin that lifted effect rather than dragging it down. So you'd avoid any of these areas down here, if you know what I mean. So when you were doing your bronzer with your Sephora palette, I noticed with your big brush, you didn't have a lot of control because the brush is so huge. So a lot of it was ending up down here. And that's kind of not what you'd want to do ideally because that'll drag the look of the face down. So when it comes to makeup, you want to kind of lift everything up and give you that lifted effect. So I'm just going to apply a bit more of that to give you a beautiful sun-kissed glow. And I also noticed that you said you like to put some bronzer up on your eye here.
Yes.
To stop it being white and give it some colour. So what you can do, in fact, instead of you going in with the brush, I just use whatever remnants are left on the sponge and just apply that over there.
Okay.
In fact, I can't remember, with your foundation, did you apply it onto your eyelid as well, or did you leave your eyelid bare? So that's why you've got the problem of the rest of your face looking tan and then your socket looking white, which you don't like.
Yes.
So apply it there as well. And I'm just going to pop a little bit on the nose because the sun would hit your nose.
It would.
So if you look straight at the camera, hopefully they can see the difference between complexion already. So Mummy doesn't use powder, and I know a lot of women don't like to use powder because they're worried it's going to give them like a cakey, powdery, old woman effect. Is that why you don't use it?
Yep.
Yep. So I would always recommend that everybody wear powder, no matter how young or how old, because it sets your cream and liquid products in place. Another thing it does is it's matte, so it absorbs the light. So when you've got texture on your skin, or enlarged pores, or fine lines or wrinkles, what you don't want to do is have those catch the light because it's going to highlight them. So anything that catches the light becomes highlighted and pops forward, catches the eye. Anything that's matte products actually absorb the light and make everything appear smooth and flat. So if you've got texture on your skin, enlarged pores, fine lines, you want to try and mattify them so that they appear smooth and flat. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So, why am I out of breath? I'm so unfit. So, the powder I'm going to use is this one here. It's from IT Cosmetics. It's very, very good. It's the Bye Bye Pores Pressed Translucent Powder. You can get this in a loose form as well, but I find it kind of flies through the air and I end up breathing it in, which is not good for you. So, I prefer the pressed powder. So, what I'm going to do, I'm only going to apply the powder where you need it. So, that would usually be the T-zone, the eye area, and possibly just around the mouth and the chin, and you can kind of leave the outer areas of the face because they don't tend to have any oil really, so you can leave that if you want to. So to make sure that you've got really good control over where you apply it, I'd suggest using a small blending brush made for the eyes rather than a powder brush like this. So this is the brush my mum was using for her bronzer, and this is a brush I'd suggest you use instead. See, there's like a massive size difference there. So this is the E40 eye blending brush from Sigma, and it's a really good size. So it's big enough that you can do kind of like skin complexion work, sculpting of the face, but it's also small enough that you can blend out the eye area. So very, very, very good brush. And it's going to give you a lot more control over where you apply your powder products compared to this big powder brush. So I'm going to take a really small amount of translucent powder. Translucent means that it's clear, so you don't have to worry about what color you buy, it'll suit everybody. So I'm taking a tiny bit on my brush, I've tapped off the excess, and I'm also going to take off the excess on the back of my hand, so you apply only small amounts at a time. And again, I'm just doing that soft patting motion onto the skin. You don't want to swirl or rub. And I'm going to apply it on the eye area, because that's going to set your eye makeup in place. Make sure it doesn't end up on your eyelid, like, you know, with the mascara on the eyelid or eyeliner on the eyelid, anywhere you don't want it to be. I'm going to apply a little bit down here, a little bit on the cheeks. You can also use a damp beauty blender to do this if you want to, but again, size difference, the small brush gives you better control and it will apply a smaller amount. So for those of you that are feared of powder, this is a much better way to do it. Another thing that powder does is it makes your pores look smaller. So sometimes as you age, your pores can start to look enlarged. This will kind of bring them back down to the size they're supposed to be. And I am indeed going over the areas that I applied the cream bronzer and, the liquid bronzer and the liquid highlight, because again, you want to make sure they're set in place. And because this powder has no color, it's not going to detract from them. It's just going to make sure they don't move or rub away. So look up the sky. I'm just going to set your under eye. And this will help to make sure your makeup doesn't end up running under your eyes as well. Because another thing, as you age, your eye area can tend to become quite oily, and you'll find that your eye makeup is ending up underneath your eyes or ending up like on the hood of the eye, which, I mean, you didn't put it there, so you don't want it there. Do you ever find that happens?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the side of the nose that my mum did her own makeup. As you can see, the pores look quite enlarged in this area here, and it's not even because she has enlarged pores, it's just that the makeup is making them look that way. And on this side, the pores are almost invisible. You barely can see them at all, and it's because she doesn't have enlarged pores, but the makeup was doing her no favors. So that's basically the complexion part of it done, but I will apply a small amount of blush, and I'm going to use this one here. It's from the Sigma blush palette. It's got a load of different colors in it. And the one I'm going to use on my mum is a mixture of this and this. So this one here is like a real peachy tone with some shimmer in it. This one here is a matte, slightly darker peachy tone. And what I would do
is not use my brush.
No, let's not use your brush. So the brush I'm going to use is this one here. So this is a duo fiber brush from Sigma. So as you can see, it's not as dense as your brush. So they're quite different. This one's made from duo fiber, so it's really light and airy, whereas this one is more dense, and this is kind of what a usual powder brush would be like. But I would say avoid those if you can and go for something like this, because this is going to blend as you apply, and it's also not going to let you apply too much product. So I'm taking a tiny amount of this, tiny amount of this. Always tap off the excess and try and remember to take off any extra on the back of your hand so you know how much you're applying to your face. And then you want to apply it to this area here, which is kind of the apple of the cheek. So you don't want to bring it down low down here. You don't want to put it up here. You want to put it right here. So when you smile, see that area that pops out? That's where you want to apply your brush. And again, I'm just doing that soft patting motion because you want to be really kind to your skin. Okay, Okay, so now I'm going to go in with eyes. So I noticed with your eyeshadow application, you kind of kept everything on the mobile lid, which is fine, and you can definitely do that if you want to go for like a smoky eye look or something like that. But because you do have slightly hooded eyes now, so if you look straight in a mirror, you see how, can you see in your eye? Can you see your eyes?
Yes.
So see, I see there's like a fold of skin that kind of hangs over. I have the same eye shape. A lot of people have that eye shape. It's super common. So what you want to do is you want to give that fold of skin the illusion of being pushed back. And you want to bring the mobile lid forward. So then it comes down to shade and light. So anything that you make a darker shade is going to recede. Anything that you make a lighter or brighter shade is going to come forward. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So since we're going for a daytime look today, I'm going to go in with this eyeshadow palette here. It's from Sigma. It's the Warm Neutrals Volume 2 eyeshadow palette. And as you can see, it's got a mixture of shimmers and mattes. So it's a really versatile eyeshadow palette. So can you guess what the shimmers are going to do in comparison to the mattes? What we spoke about before?
Well, the shimmers are going to brighten, so they will, you'll put them on the spots that you want to bring forward, and the mattes you'll put on the droopy bits.
Pretty much, yeah. Well done. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to work mostly with matte on her eyes, and then on the parts that we want to emphasize and make pop, we'll go in with lighter, brighter shimmers. So I'm going to go in with the Sigma A25 blending brush. This is a brilliant brush because you can pack shadow on with it, but you can also turn it around and blend with it. So this, compared to the brush you were using, where's it gone? So can you see the comparison between the two brushes?
Yes, they're nothing alike.
Yeah, so this one here is really rigid,
yes,
and quite tough and not very soft, so not ideal for blending, whereas this one is really soft and curved.
I didn't know I wanted to blend.
You do, so you definitely do want to blend. So this is the difference between the two brushes. This one here is the one my mum's been using, and this is what I would recommend she use instead. Yeah, you want to blend because you don't want any harsh edges. So you want to blend your eyes, you basically want to blend all makeup except lipstick and eyebrows, because you want it to just look like a soft smoky shadow and not like makeup. So the color I'm going to go in with is this one here. It's just a kind of warm terracotta taupey shade, and it's a matte.
Yes.
It's called Toasty. And again, tapping off the excess. And I'm going to apply this up higher on the lid. So I'm going to apply this basically where your socket is. So instead of applying it on the mobile lid here, which is where my mum applied her eyeshadow, I'm going to put the bulk of the color up here where the hood of the eye is, where the eye socket is. And again, just soft patting motions. And again, this brush does a lot of the work for you. So not only does it apply the eyeshadow, but it also kind of blends as it goes. So everything looks super soft and smoky without you having to do a whole lot of blending work. And what you'd want to do then, if you were doing your makeup yourself, is open your eye and look at yourself straight in the mirror. If you can't see the eyeshadow, and if it looks like the fold of the eye has no eyeshadow on it, you need to bring it up higher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, does that make sense? So look at me. So we're going to bring it up just a tiny, tiny bit higher. And as you guys can hopefully see, I'm keeping the majority of the eyeshadow from about the middle of her eye to the outer corner of her eye, and I'm avoiding putting a lot of shadow on the inner corner of the eye there, because you want to make the eyes look elongated and bigger and more open, which is what putting it here will do. Whereas if you put it on the inner corner here, it's going to make them look close together, kind of closed and a little bit sunken, so you want to avoid that. So what you then do is go in with a brighter shade. So I'm going to take this shade here. It's a matte kind of ivory shade called Humble. You can apply this part with your finger or a brush. It's up to you, whatever you prefer. I'm only taking a small amount of this, and I'm going to apply this where you applied your dark grey blue shades directly on the mobile lid, which is the part of your eye that moves when you blink. And open. So it's kind of just playing around with shade and light.
Oh.
So you want to keep this lighter shade directly underneath the hood of the eye. So you don't want to highlight the hood of the eye because it's going to make them look super hooded.
And I think I've been doing that.
Yeah, kind of, not really, you know, because the colours you've been using are darker shades. The only thing is the colours you've been using are all shimmers.
Oh,
They've all got a slight shimmer to them, whereas these ones that I've currently used on you are pure matte.
right.
So you want to use shimmers and mattes strategically. So because that's a daytime look, you could probably just stick with that and then apply mascara, but I'm going to go one step extra to show you what you could do. So I'm going to go in with this darker shade here. Again, it's a matte. It's kind of like a deep browny olive shade called After Hours. And I'm going to take a really small smudging brush. Alright, so I'm just going to go in with this brush here. Again, you can use this as an eyebrow brush if you want to. This is the small angled E65 brush from Sigma. And I'm just going to take a small amount of this After Hours shade and apply this to your lash line. And it's going to make your lashes appear thicker and open your eyes up more, which is always good. So you just want to apply this directly above where your eyelashes are and kind of rummage it through your eyelashes as well to make the lash line look thicker. So it's kind of framing your eyes,
Oh,
but making your eyelashes look thicker, and it's not quite as harsh as black, so it's nice for daytime.
yeah. Oh,
I'll
I
probably
think
go
I'll
and
steal that palette.
Yeah, I think I've got another one, so you can probably have this. And just gently and softly blend it out. I mean, you don't even have to use a brush for this. If you don't have a brush small enough, you can just use,
Not your finger.
not your finger, but what's those things you stick in your ears to clean them?
A cotton bud.
Yes, one of those. You can use a cotton bud and just gently like shut your eye and run it along the lash
would
line. Yeah, that would work.
That would work.
So then what I would do is your mascara. So one thing I noticed when you were doing your mascara is that you were only applying the mascara to the tips of your eyelashes. So you weren't actually working the mascara down to the roots of your eyelashes. And because of that, you actually think your eyelashes are shorter and more sparse than what they really are. So you actually have really good eyelashes, and a lot of women do have really good eyelashes, but you're only applying the mascara just to the tips of the eyelashes, and so you're not utilizing your entire lash. So I'm going to try and work this into the roots of your lashes, if you will let me.
Oh, here we go.
So just keep your eyes shut, and I'm just going to, okay, not that shut. Okay, look down at the ground. I'm not going to poke you in the eye.
I know you're not.
I'm just carefully working this into the roots of the lashes. Up and under. Obviously, if you're doing this on yourself, it'll be easier than trying to do it on someone else who's worried you're going to poke them in the eye. So now I'm going to do your brow while your mascara dries. So with your eyebrow, let me have a look at that. So with your eyebrow, it's not bad, you know, it's pretty good, and I liked how you were doing just the hair strokes rather than one straight line across. You actually do your eyebrows pretty well, but I think we could make them look even more natural by using two different products. So what I would use is powder, because powder is really soft, and then I would go in with this product here, which is absolutely amazing. I got this from Cult Beauty online. It's called the Bow Wow Wow Fairy Drops Liner, and it's for your eyebrows. So it's kind of like a liquid liner, but for your brows. You can get it in two different colors. I've got it in the darker one. I don't have the lighter one, but because you're blonde, ideally you would use the lighter one. But it only lets you do really kind of sheer, thin eyebrow strokes.
Oh, perfect.
You want to store it this way so that the ink is constantly running into the nib as well,
Which way's the up?
where the lid is.
Oh, okay.
So you don't want to store it that way, you want to store it that way. This is what I would use rather than a pencil, because powder is softer and I find it easier to apply when you've got really sparse eyebrows. And it's different to a pencil in that the pencil can sometimes tug at your skin, which means your eyebrow turns out a bit wonky. Whereas with the powder, you control how much you have on your brush and how light or how strong you want to press. So I'm using this one's from Sigma. It's the Sigma Medium Brow Powder. It's got two shades. So you've got a light one for the inner corner of the brow and a darker shade for the mid to outer corner of the brow. And the brush that I would use is the Sigma Angled Brow E75 brush, because it's really thin and very soft.
Oh, yeah, it is.
This is my favourite. I'll start off with the lighter shade first until we get the structure of the brow right. So again, you want to follow where your natural brow is, because that's, like you said, going to give you the best idea of how to draw your brow, because your own brow hairs know best. So first of all, I'm just getting the shape of the brow down pat, where we want it to go, and then I'll start filling it in. So now I've got the shape of the brow, I'm going to start gently and softly and lightly thickening it up and filling it in to what your brow should be. And again, I'm just using tiny little hair-like strokes, not one big sweep. Okay, so look straight back on. So I'm not going to leave them like that. That's not it finished, but that's kind of like the outline of it. And then what I would do is go in with the Brow Wow brow liner that I was telling you guys about and draw in a few realistic eyebrow strokes. And then what I would do is I would go around and tidy up and brighten around the brow, which will also give you a lifted effect. So I'd take a tiny bit of either a light concealer or a light foundation, lighter than the foundation we've used, ideally. And then you want to use a really small brush as well. This one here is the LO6 Precise Lip Brush from Sigma. And you want to just neaten up and highlight the underside of the brow. So that's the neat brow. So what I would do then is highlight the brow bone even more because that will give you a lifted effect. Yeah. So I'd go back in with this off-white matte shade called Humble. Again, on a tiny little brush that you have a lot of control over because you only want to apply a small amount of this, very strategically. And I'd apply it right here, just where the arch of that brow bone is. So then for the bottom lash line, for daytime, I would keep it really, really light. So with hooded eyes and mature skin, I know you hate that terminology, but I don't know what else to call it. You want to like avoid putting darker shades on the lower lash line. So what you did, I would kind of suggest you don't do, purely because you didn't balance it with the top waterline. You only put that dark navy shade on the bottom waterline, which is going to drag the look of the eye down. You want to concentrate the darker shades to the top eyelid, which will lift the look of everything. So what I would do is not do that. I would just leave the lower waterline naked, and I'd go in back with probably just this toasty shade, which we used originally, on a tiny little brush, something like a little E30 pencil brush from Sigma, and look up at the sky. And I would keep this shade as close to the lash line as possible. So you don't want to bring any of this dark shade down. You want to keep it really tight. So I'm just going to go in with the Mary Luminizer highlight from the Balm. I'm just going to take another E30 pencil brush from Sigma, apply a small amount of the super bright highlight, and apply it to the inner corners of the eyes. So this is a really important step because it just completely brightens and opens up the look of the eye. I'd also bring it just underneath the tear duct and close. And then I would also put some of this on the arch of the brow bone. Not a whole lot, just a small. You want to work in tiny, tiny amounts. It's not how much you apply, it's where you apply it. Just to catch the light and give that lifted effect.
So no mascara on the bottom lid?
Mascara on the bottom lid. You can apply a tiny bit if you want to. I just wouldn't apply too much because again, it's dark and it's going to pull the look of the eye down. So that's why this IT Cosmetics one is good to use because it's very small and you can only apply small amounts at a time. Just to balance. There we go. That's all I'd put. When did this become so short? I don't remember using it to that.
What brand is it?
It's Charlotte Tilbury. I'm pretty sure this colour was called Nude? Lip Treat or something like that. I don't know. I'll link it down below for you guys. I can't remember the exact name of the colour, but it's really, really good. It's really good for kind of overdrawing the lips. Remember the other day I overdrew your lips a little bit, made them look bigger? That's really flattering. So we're going to do that again. Now one thing you want to make sure you do is sharpen it because it's so hard to do a neat lip line with a blunt lip pencil. Same with eyeliner. It's really hard to do when it's blunt. So I'm sharpening it to a nice sharp point and then I'm going to start outlining the lips. And the reason lip liner is important is because as you age, you can develop fine lines around the lips, which lipstick can bleed into if you don't give it a solid support system. And this will also help you to make your lips look bigger, which is really flattering. The colour of lipstick I'm going to use is also by Charlotte Tilbury and it's Nude Kate. So it's just bronzy tan nude shade. And I'm going to apply it with a lip brush. So instead of going straight in with the lipstick, which you don't have a whole lot of control over, you have much more control over a tiny lip brush. So I just apply a bit onto the brush and then apply it directly as needed. That's you finished. You can take the big mirror off so you can see better.
Oh, wow.
So there's a bit of a difference. So there we go, guys. That is the tutorial finished. So obviously I did this side of my mom's face. She did this side. And you have been the best model. You didn't complain once. You didn't scream.
No, I
You didn't cry.
Not at all.
You didn't request alcohol.
But
She wants the bourbon now. So I hope you guys found that tutorial helpful. I know it probably went for quite a while, but I wanted to make sure that it was really in depth because I don't know when I'll be able to film with my mum again, considering she lives in Australia and I live in Ireland. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and let us know what you thought down below.
This is just for the mature women who watch Stephanie's tutorials and have been wanting to see a woman my age and what you can do, and who would know it could look this good.
You've always been beautiful.
This is for all the Marys and the Anns and everybody else out there.
I love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Good job, mummy. Why do you put the blue eyeliner pencil on your bottom waterline?
I don't know.
Hey Darren, which side of the makeup do you prefer?
Be kind.
Which side do you think looks better?
I'd say.
I don't know, just why do you put it there?
Where am I meant to put it?